Huawei turns to Africa to offset US blacklist. As the US leads a drive for the West to shun Huawei over security fears, the Chinese tech giant has sought to strengthen its position in Africa, where it is already well established. Huawei has taken a leading role in developing next-generation 5G mobile phone networks around the world. But it has been in turmoil since Washington charged its equipment could serve as a Trojan horse for Chinese intelligence services. The world's second smartphone maker fiercely denies the allegations, but the US has urged countries to avoid it, and several companies have distanced themselves. They include Google, whose Android operating system runs most smartphones. And as Washington and Beijing duke it out in an escalating trade war, nations around the world are faced with the dilemma of having to choose a side between the world's two top economies. Russian President Vladimir Putin weighed in on Friday, slamming Washington's attempt to unceremoniously. Chinese President Xi Jinping, a guest of Putin at an economic forum in St. Petersburg, said China was ready. But will the escalating fight lead to African nations having to choose between China, the continent's top trade partner, and the US? 4. Very aggressive strategy. Huawei, now a major factor in US-Chinese tensions, has looked to strengthen its ties in Africa, last week signing an agreement to reinforce its cooperation with the African Union. The deal comes after the French newspaper Le Monde reported in 2018 that China had spied on the AU's headquarters in Ethiopian capital Addis Ababa, citing sources inside the organization. The report said the spying began in 2012 after the completion of the AU's new headquarters that was financed by China, and was only noticed when technicians discovered data on the building's servers was being sent to Shanghai. Both China and the EU reject the allegations. Huawei has established itself across Africa since launching in Kenya in 1998, and now operates in 40 countries, providing 4G networks to more than half of the continent. It will also showcase 5G, the next-generation mobile phone network that will transmit data at far greater speeds in Egypt for the Africa Cup of Nations, which will be held from June 21 to July 19. Africa. The Big Brother Beijing. Huawei's presence in Africa goes far beyond selling smartphones and building mobile networks. In South Africa, it provides training at the country's top universities, this year launching a specialized course on 5 Guatanies. Kenya's government signed a 17.5 billion shilling $172 million deal with Huawei in April to build a data center and smart. The Chinese giant also offers a safe. This initiative, according to the firm's website, It has been deployed in Kenya's capital Nairobi as well as Mauritius, with 4,000 smart surveillance video cameras set up at 2,000 sites across the Indian Ocean island nation. Some media outlets in Mauritius have condemned the system as digital. But Ghanaian Security Ministry Albert Kindepa, for one, says Huawei's video surveillance technology helps catch criminals. When Huawei Marine, the company's submarine cable arm, is helping to deploy a key 12,000-kilometer (7,450-mile) cable system connecting Africa to Asia. With Huawei so deeply embedded in Africa, the continent may find it difficult to avoid becoming a collateral victim of the US-China bust-up. Africa.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.